All right, guys, I'm here with Laura Alvarez Fernandez, who did the book Eggy's Adventure at Poe Cottage. Talk to me. Tell me a little bit about this book.
So this book started when I was working at the Poe Visitor Center right across the Poe Cottage. And there was this workshop that happened every week, and it was about writing. And I always said that I could draw everything, but I could not write. And the instructor kept telling me, no, you can write, you can write, you can write, until I wrote the book. And then I illustrated it, and then years back, then I did the whole thing and published it.
Wow. And it's interesting because, like I said, like I told you earlier, and I'll let everybody, I lived a block away from Poe Park. I'm not gonna lie, I hanged out a lot there as a teenager, and I've seen the improvements in the place, right? So what can you tell me about Poe Park in particular that's so important that you went as far as you did this book? Why was Poe Park so important to you?
I think like Poe Park and the Poe Cottage especially is one of those gems that people live around it and they don't even know that's in there, and they don't know that Edgar Allan Poe lived there, that the wife died there. Like, it's a museum. You can go in, you can go see the history, you can learn about Edgar Allan Poe and his life. And a lot of people don't know that that same park is where Batman was created.
Yeah,
like, and so many things that is important, but you know, like a lot of people don't know.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say the same thing, that is the home where they sat down and created Batman, and you could sit in the bench that Batman was created in. And now that they immortalized it by making Bill Finger's lane right there, so it's really good. And thank you so much, Laura. We will keep in touch, guys.
Yes, thank you.
And bye. All right, back in MOCCA. I'm here with Jerry Ma, friend of the channel. How's it going, man?
Not bad. How about yourself?
I'm doing good, man. Talk to me a little bit about how the show's been to you so far. It's been a few hours now.
I mean, this show's, it's my first time being at MOCCA since back when it was at the Armory. And actually, my friend Alan here was one of and Ken. They were some of the founders for the first ones back at the Puck Building. So it's been a long time. And especially after this whole pandemic thing, it's just really great to be out in this environment again. I was at New York Comic Con, but this is just so much more intimate, and it actually means a little bit more. I don't know, it just seems more sincere than a big show like New York Comic Con.
Yeah, I would agree with that, especially because the people that are coming in are coming to see the talent more than they're coming to see the big things, right?
They're not here for Funko Pops.
They're not here for Funko Pops. They're not here for who's gonna do the latest panel or what's the next, the next movie, that event that's happening. Not that it's wrong. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's more like this is about the indie guys, the guys that, in some cases, went to become big names and things like that, and in some cases, they're still big names even in this realm that we call indie world. In particular, I remember one time we were talking years ago. And when I say years ago, we're talking about like a decade ago or something like that. I remember we were doing one of those shows over when we were at 8th Avenue with the Pronto team. You remember that, right? And one of the things you mentioned that always stood out to me, maybe you remember, maybe you don't, was the fact that at that particular time you liked drawing on paper and pen.
Yes.
As opposed to digital.
I still draw.
And you still, right?
Yeah.
Why is that so important to you?
So, I had a pretty long discussion with my friend Cliff Chang, because we both do digital work, but I made an argument to him that I still believe, you gotta hold art. And there's something, and this is gonna sound really corny to me, but back when I was at school, one of my teachers, Walt Simonson, who I'm still friendly with, he gave me a very zen explanation that there's a beauty to like a blank piece of paper. And our job as the artist is the second you put something down on the paper is to bring that beauty back to it. Not to like just mark it up and mess it up, but to bring, beauty back to the blank piece of paper. And I know it sounds corny, but there's something to be able to hold it and be able to hang it up and frame it Now I understand if you draw it digitally, you can print it out and hang up the printout, but there's still just something a little different. I believe art should be a little organic. That being said, yes, like I said, I do some digital work, but for example, like I do a lot of my coloring by digital, but I'll do a lot of painted textures that I'll scan in, and I'll use them as separate layers over my work, and I'll try to manipulate it that way digitally, so that it's still coming from an organic place. Oh, sorry, that's too long-winded of an answer.
but the reality of it is like, the way I look at it is I could draw a picture on my iPad, but again, I could continually work on it, and sometimes I could erase my mistakes, right?
Of course.
But at the same time, when you draw it on paper, sometimes those mistakes becomes happy accidents as well.
Yeah, I mean, thinking about that part of it, I understand like the concept of just making it perfect, which you can do digitally. And I have plenty of friends that do that, and it's faster, it's easier, and you can make it perfect. I kind of like the imperfections. I like the inconsistency of the pencil or the pen and the ink bleeding. To me, those inconsistencies make it perfect, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I totally get it, man. Well, it's been great, man. We'll talk.
Yeah, it's great to see you.
We'll say hi to Ken. He's out there somewhere, right? Doing his thing. But it's great having you. Enjoy the show as we are enjoying the show. And we'll see you guys next time.